Are you looking for a healthier alternative to sugary cereal for breakfast? If yes, then you are going to love my homemade vanilla almond granola. It's flavor rich and nutrient dense with clean, fresh ingredients, and I think tastes even better than the fancy store-bought granolas. It's naturally sweetened with honey and made gluten-free with oats. It's nutrient dense with two of my favorite superfoods, almonds and chia seeds. The vanilla almond aroma is absolutely heavenly, and the vanilla flavor pairs perfectly with your favorite fresh fruit. We're going to begin with oats, and I recommend using the old-fashioned oats because they're a little bit larger in size, which makes for a bigger bite of granola. So we're going to go ahead and add 3.5 cups of oats to our mixing bowl. For the almonds, you could use chopped almonds or whole almonds if you like them really chunky, or you can use slivered almonds. I'm going to use a 1/3 cup of slivered. It's really an aesthetic decision because I think they look really beautiful in the granola. Then we'll add a 1/3 cup of coconut. Then we're going to add one of my favorite superfoods, which is chia seeds, and you can use black or white. I'm going to use white just for the aesthetic of this granola. So we're going to add 3 tablespoons of chia seeds, and then we'll add 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. And for seasoning, we'll add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we'll set this aside while we mix our wet ingredients. In a smaller mixing bowl, we're going to add a 1/3 cup of almond butter. And this is going to really bring in a lot of rich almond flavor. Then we'll add a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 1/4 cup of honey as our natural sweetener. And for flavor, we'll add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. And then I find it works best to just go ahead and mix these with a fork. And it might not seem like it at first, but it will mix together very easily as the almond butter dissolves. Already is starting to smell incredible. Now we can take our big mixing bowl and just give it a quick mix of our dry ingredients. And then we can pour in our wet ingredients. And then with our spatula, we'll go ahead and just mix these together. And you'll want to take a minute and make sure that it's really well mixed. Next, you'll want to take a large cookie sheet, and then we're just going to place a large sheet of parchment paper over the top. And you want to cut your piece of parchment paper so that it's about 2 inches longer than your sheet pan. And this is going to make it much easier for moving our granola around, and then for removing it from our pan and letting it cool at the end. Now we can go ahead and just pour in our delicious granola. And then just spread it around with our spatula. We want to break up any clumps so it can all become evenly toasted. Now you could just bake it as is, or if you'd like to make it a little extra special, you can go ahead and add some white chocolate chips. These are just going to enhance the vanilla flavor and just make it extra delicious. All right, well that looks beautiful, and it's ready to go into a 350-degree oven for 8 minutes. So after the 8 minutes, you want to take your pan out of the oven, and then to help it cook evenly, we want to redistribute the granola. So we can very easily just take our parchment paper, lift on all 4 sides, and then it will move the granola to the center. The last side here. And then we can take our spatula and just spread it out again. And then now this can go back into the oven for an additional 8 minutes at 350 degrees. Well, our second set of 8 minutes is up, and this smells absolutely divine. Now what we can do now is very carefully just hold on to our parchment paper and then transfer this right onto our cooling rack. Voila! And we have a clean pan. And that means less dishes. Well, this looks absolutely gorgeous, and the smell is equally impressive. I have a batch here that I made earlier that I just keep in an airtight container in my cupboard. And you can see it just makes these delicious little clumps of oats and coconut. And yumminess. That tastes so good. When you bite in, you instantly get this soft burst of vanilla flavor, and then you get that smooth hardiness of the oats, and then you get a little bit of crunch that comes in from those little chia seeds. And then you get the subtle sweetness that comes in from the honey. And then there's just a really yummy, salty savoriness that comes from the almond butter, which just gives it a really rich and yummy flavor. And it has just the perfect amount of crunch and is just super satisfying. Now I like to eat this like cereal in a bowl with some almond milk, but I also love putting it on top of Greek yogurt, as well as cottage cheese, and even on top of ice cream. It's emotionally satisfying because you're eating something that is just sweet and delicious, but it's also physically satisfying because it's nutrient dense and gluten-free and just has clean ingredients and doesn't have any corn syrup or processed white sugar. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen to make this delicious granola. And if you'd like to see the full recipe card for this video, I've included a link in the video description below, and it's on my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love to have a healthier breakfast alternative to just cold cereal, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen next time.